Guys, what is going on? Today's video, haven't posted in a few days, but back at it now. Expect good amount of uploads coming in the next few weeks. Today's topic is the rise and fall of blunt force bodybuilding. Now, Ireland's a small country. We don't necessarily have a go-to site anymore for bodybuilding content. But early on, I'm going to say about 3 to 4 years ago, there was two sites and content providers that were available at the time. There was Irish Muscle, which was the brainchild of David Geller, and that actually did quite well. It was based around a forum that I was a member of. A good few people were a member of, but you know it kind of fell out. I think forums kind of just became less popular due to the advent of social media, Facebook, Instagram, all being at your fingertips, where you didn't have to log into a forum to connect to people anymore. And of course, that led to the fall of that Irish Muscle forum. However, the topic of today's choice is Bluntforce Bodybuilding, which was the brainchild of Keith Burke. Now, what I'm going to try and outline, in my opinion, and from what I've heard and been told from first-hand experiences from people involved with the company at the time, and people who were involved with the company at the time, why it succeeded in some aspects and why it fell eventually. So, look, as with any new site when it came out, there was a lot of buzz surrounding it. It seemed edgy, it seemed out there. I mean, there was no thing called blunt force bodybuilding. That's right in your face. It grabs your attention. However, um, I think what I tried to do in many aspects is try to emulate um, um, a few American providers and a few UK providers in terms of content. I remember at the up to the road to the 2013 RBBF and NABA shows, they were in a competitive spirit with Irish Muscle, providing road to the national series, that kind of thing. That was the hype. That was the peak of of Blunt Force Bodybuilding. Whereas they had blogs being posted up on their site by people like Brian Hickey, things like that. It had a good amount of content at the time. However, after that, it's began to go on a slow decline. And now, as anyone knows, if you're a professional media outlet, you have to provide content on a consistent basis. And by that, you have to provide a high quality as well on a consistent basis. Blunt Force failed in that aspect. The content stopped. It didn't appeal to a larger audience. I mean, it was mainly training footage. There was not much diversity in the content that they put out. Look, one like, and I personally wasn't something I would watch. Look, I'm a bodybuilder. I'm a bodybuilding fan, though, first and foremost. That's what got me into bodybuilding. I remember I would hop on to the computer when I was 17, or even now, I watch all the Jay Cutler DVDs. I watch the Ronnie Coleman DVDs. I watched Under Construction 1 and 2 by James Grealish. Great content. Why is it great content? Because it fucking has a bit of diversity in it. You know, Playing heavy metal music over some badly filmed, mediocre training footage is not diversity. That's not going to be appealing to people who want to watch it. People look, I get it's meant to be blunt force, but Jesus, blunt force doesn't mean your content has to be blunt. Okay? Christ. But look, what it did, I'm gonna go on. Look, I had a friend who was who was signed by the company at the time. He had to change his name to Bluntforce on his Instagram. So Bluntforce before his name. He told me first-hand experience. He was told to go out to UL, to the University of Limerick, to film some training footage with them. Keith Burke forgot his camera. If you're providing fucking media content, don't forget your fucking video camera to film the footage. That's literally the first thing you need to provide the content. I was then told he tried to film it on his iPhone. It wasn't, it was that kind of unprofessionalism that, it doesn't bode well for a company. I mean, I remember there was a lot of rife in between I think they tried to emulate certain things like the Rob and Dana Lynn Bailey, the kind of content, the flag no fail content. I remember they tried to put out shirts and hoodies, and I remember my friend there was a lot of rife, internal rife in between the workings of the company as well. I mean, I remember that another person I knew at the time, who was flown over with he went over with them to Body Power, and at the time, it's like he was completely snubbed by all the other members, and he wasn't actually included in any of the video footage. Yet he was there the whole time because one of the people in the company didn't like. They didn't want to put him in the footage. Yet they had promised him he would be included in the whole company. They allowed him. It's like, as a company, if you want to maintain consistent and appear professional, you can't let petty differences between one person and another person affect the content of the company. I actually had a personal experience with them. Oh, I was gonna fly. I was set to go to Iron House out with them. Now this was 3 years ago. So at the time I didn't have a car. I didn't drive. I live in the Wicklow countryside, so obviously I don't have access. I public transport is not my. I don't have access to a bus. Primarily. So I was in college at the time. I remember I arranged with Cavan Byrne and Keith Burke at the time. They were going to meet me at the Red Cow Hotel in their car. So I travelled a couple of hours to the fucking Red Cow Hotel, Lewis stop. Guess what? I got a text from both of them saying, "Oh, Owen, we can't fit you in either of our cars because we have a camera in one of the cars." It's like, if you say as a company that we're going to, or even as a content provider, like, yeah, okay, of course, yeah, let's go out and train, we'll film some cool footage, we'll have a bit of crack, we'll have a bit of fun. You can't arrange to meet people and then tell them, okay, we can't meet you when you're 5 minutes away from the fucking from meeting them. It's like, okay, I mean, I think it's just unprofessionalism, things like that, that made the company fall, because it's like, and then I don't feel Keith at the time. I don't think he wanted to push the company as hard as he wanted to. I don't think he realized it was gaining. There was no, I think the customer base, the attention being paid to it was falling, in the sense that people kind of understood that, yes, the consistency was not there. Yes, the content was not there beyond 2013 and 14. And internal strife. I mean, I know Cavan Byrne is doing his own thing now out in Drada, things like that. So little things, internal strife. So the company, I think, just fell. The fall of Bluntforce Bodybuilding is mainly attributed, in my opinion, to the fact that they did not deal with people well. Um, they did not provide content on a consistent basis of a higher standard that should be attributed to a site that is meant to be Ireland's main bodybuilding provider. I mean, look, you want to provide entertainment, you want to provide knowledge, you want to provide helpful tips for people trying to get into bodybuilding. If I was a beginning bodybuilder, I would not go on and watch a training video filmed with heavy metal and then, walking around with a fisheye lens around some half hours training. That's not what training is to me. What bodybuilding, you're meant to, it is an entertainment industry, okay? Look, it's a sport, but it is an entertainment industry. Therefore, you want your content to be entertaining. Blunt Force did not succeed in doing that in the long run, which is sad, because I believe they had the potential to be Ireland's, because Ireland doesn't have a bodybuilding provider anymore. I mean, like Shredded.ie is not really doing anything at all, to be honest with you. Um, as again, Irish Muscle's gone. You know what I mean? There's no one site where you can go to and say, this is Irish bodybuilding. This is what Ireland should represent in the bodybuilding industry. Bluntforce could have done it, it didn't do it. Um, Again, just unprofessionalism, just lack of consistency when it came down to it. They even had a podcast at one point. I remember I used to listen to the podcast. I found it entertaining enough, but they stopped doing the podcast. It's like, even some when people are doing cardio, popped it on, get you through 50 minutes of cardio. Easy. It's like, it's not hard to do, but I just, even 4 videos a week, not hard to do. 20-minute, 4 videos a week. Just, they didn't manage to do that. They didn't have the clothing line readily accessible. They didn't treat their associates well. Certain things like that, just lack of respect. But I do think it started off well, and then it kind of just declined due to the internal strife that going on, and lack of consistency and differing directions from people involved. So it's sad to see, but it is what it is, and that is it. Why Blunt Force failed, in my opinion, and from first-hand accounts, and from my own personal experience, what I experienced with them. So there we go.